Okay, as you can tell by the opening title, I finally have a working version of an editing program. How long that takes, how long that's going to keep, I don't know, but keep my fingers crossed while it's going. Also, thanks to all the new subscribers, and also thanks to I now have 2 patrons. So it's starting. It's starting looking less of a weirdo here. I'm actually going to make a living at this now. Hopefully, we can also get this one to go just as nuts as that other one. So, here's where we're at. Discovery is going to be a train wreck. Okay, that's pretty much universally acknowledged by anyone who's got half a brain looking at this stuff. It's a mess. The rumblings from behind the scenes are nothing good. I mean, everyone's looking for the exit door. So let's just figure it's going to go down. All right, whether it completes the first season or not, the second season looks pretty damn unlikely. So what do? Let it die. Don't do a letter writing campaign, because in this day and age it probably won't work anyway. And besides, it'll only encourage CBS to keep cranking out crap with a Star Trek label on it. I mean, they need a moment of reflection and to actually sit back and think, what did we do wrong? What is wrong with this thing? Why? Because on paper, from ad exec and marketing guy, this looks perfect. Because you're still looking at the big numbers and number from JJ Trek, and saying, hey, somebody likes this stuff. They're paying money to go see it, and they're not digging deeper into the fan reaction to the grumblings that have been really since before JJ Trek even premiered, and have only gotten worse as it's gone on. So they really need to, really they're kind of the same situation as kind of New Coke. Remember that debate. And also, around the same time, Ford almost made that same mistake with the Mustang. Because they were testing out a new car, and it was got front-wheel drive, four-cylinder engine on it, and they were looking to make that the new Mustang. The difference is, that Coke didn't do, was Ford asked these people they were doing the survey with, how would you like this as the new Mustang? And presumably people liked the car up until that point. Once you said, this is going to be the new Mustang, no. Not that. Not this 4-banger front-wheel drive thing. It's a cute car, but no, not as a Mustang. So to avoid the disaster, they dusted off with something they've been using previously as a concept car thing, the Probe 4, and it's called the Ford Probe. Had a decent run with it. Tweaked the 60 Mustang for a while, and then lived to do that another day, which they eventually did in the early 2000s. Was much better around because it looked like a Mustang finally. They got that bulldog nose back on it. What Coke did not do is, after getting these taste tests back and getting good responses, it did actually tested much better than regular Coke. But they didn't do the next thing and say, how would you like this to be Coca-Cola from now on? That's where they screwed up. And that's where CBS is screwing up now. Because they didn't, or the little market research or whatever they didn't, they're on outdated, information. They're going by stuff from back in the 90s or whatever. They're not looking at the current situation in the fan community and attitudes and how it is really soured against reboots in general. And really, fandom overall are getting tired of, another reboot, another remake, and reimagining, like we can't figure out what the hell they're doing. Also, big thanks to Starbucks. They have been real nice to us over here, and it really changed my attitude at Starbucks. But they are, conversations about New Coke and the disaster that will still stop a conversation in a corporate boardroom. That was 30-some years ago. I was down in Biloxi, Mississippi, at camp, the Keystone Air Force Base in training when they did that. Or actually, maybe before. I was around there when they. Basically, the big apology brought out Classic Coke because they knew it was going bad. They actually originally outsold the New Coke for a while. Kind of like the way JJ Trek brought in lots of money. And the gas started running out on the whole thing, and guess what? You have what was arguably a better movie in Star Trek Beyond, but nobody wanted to go see it because people had gotten so soured on it because of In the Darkness and just the fact that enough already, okay? This is the best you can do. So, yeah, when Discovery goes down, let it go. don't try and save it. It's because, again, you'll only encourage them to make more crap like that. And see how they respond. Because right now it looked like the next one up is Nick Meyer and whatever he's got cooking up. I'm not going to say it's Khan because we don't know that for sure. That's all speculation. And if it is, well, how will they handle Khan? Is it going to be all CBS so they have total control over it and they can make it a prime show? Or are they also going to try and farm out the finances and then also get paranoid and start doing this alternate license crap again? Because if it's sense to be another damn reboot, then again, rinse, lather, rinse, repeat. Let it crash and burn again, and then finally figure out this is not what your loyal fan base who you're abusing wants. Once they finally figured it out that they don't know what the hell they're doing, and the people they're hiring don't know what the hell they're doing, then we start, letting them know in no uncertain terms. Make it a truly prime timeline show, which means they're going to have to do it themselves. Now, if they bring anybody else in, make it clear, you do not have claim on anything on this show. This is totally CBS. It's going to be in the timeline. And hire some people to do who have done this before. An emphasis on people, as in more than one guy. I mean, Brian Fuller, is a nice enough guy, but his ideas about what makes Star Trek were not necessarily a consensus view of what other professionals in the thing view about Star Trek, because of his. I understand he was not in the camp of the each ship had its own insignia thing. They had a lot of fights with that. And he was outnumbered by Doug Drexler and Michael Kuda on that front. Because when they were doing In a Mirror Darkly, it came time to decide what were the dead Defiant crewmates going to be wearing. He apparently felt they should be wearing the Delta like everybody else, and not everyone wore that, Ryan. Okay, because that's a argument was round around too. I'm going to go into that one of these days where that Bob Justman memo keeps being dragged up, and sorry, memos aren't canon. Okay, what's on screen is canon, and they tried to poo-poo Commodore Decker's and saying, he's a Commodore. Well, we've seen other Commodores and they didn't wear that thing. And the big one is the Omega Glory. Think of what you will of that episode. They had to make a specific choice to make those insignia for the Exeter crew, and they made at least 3 of them for each division. There may have been a couple of services because there's more than one, but you had the one on Captain Tracy for command, you had the one on the crystallized remains of the chief medical officer sprawled down the bridge, and you had a couple of engineering uniforms. So you had to make at least 3 patches to account for that. That requires authorization of the design by the producers, including Bob Justman. He was the money guy on that show. And authorizing the expenditure of it, and then going through delis and all that. So I get a feeling that Justman's little memo on that was not the most serious thing in the world, okay? Especially when he signs Grand Inquisitor Bob Justman. No. So sorry. After that little experience, you can't chalk that up to a production error. That is a production choice. The error is when you should have seen another insignia and didn't. Sorry, guys, that's the way it works. When you deliberately make that kind of involved choice and expenditure, that's no longer a production error. I mean, they also want to bring up the Tholian web, where if you look carefully, they've got regular uniforms on, but also keep in mind, one, nobody focused on any uniform so you can see the insignia. In fact, when they were close up, there was something obscure. Either the guy was on his stomach so you couldn't see this thing, or there was an arm blocking the insignia of the guy that, like the picture of the captain and the red shirt, straight, the arm, hands around the throat. It's obviously covering up the insignia. So they knew what they had, but they also were not going to spend any money. They already had the budget cut as it was, so they weren't going to spend money for new patches. It's like, try and hide them as best you can. And also remember, the screens at the time were what we would consider now horribly low resolution. So on a TV set in 1969, you're not going to see what the insignia looks like on one of those uniforms. Okay? So they're in pretty safe territory as that goes. So, getting back to that. Okay, like I said, you get more than one producer on there who's done this before, because Star Trek is not an easy show to produce. It is involved. It is very demanding. It is not just do a sci-fi show. It's got very specific requirements. And you need to get a lot of people in there who have done this before and who know how to do this. And you take a look at the Orville. That's the difference right there. That is swimming in Star Trek alumni who know how to do this kind of show and know how to do the fan service. And, if they're not veterans of previous shows, they're hardcore fanatics who are also well schooled in this thing. Because it's not too hard. You read books. Okay? There's plenty of accounts. So yeah, get people who know what they're doing, and plenty of them on all fronts. Because again, I'm hearing from people who know people on the crew that they're being specifically forbidden from doing anything that looks like original series or any of the main shows. That's how paranoid they are about anything that might cross the boundary on that license. So yeah, make it mainstream, mainline, prime timeline show, and embrace it, warts and all. Okay. You want to do a prequel? Then you brace the lucite communicator with the open circuits and the hand lasers. You're in a high def world, so you make them look better than they did back then. But you stick with that design and you live with it, because that's the history you've established. Remember, every time one of the previous shows went back to original series period, they stuck to it religiously. I'd say they duplicated those sets. They even able to mesh it in with actual footage, and you couldn't really tell the difference. So yeah, you live with it. It's a main show, and that's part of the whole thing, is the whole consistency. You stick with it. And put it on a regular television. Don't do this, trying to bilk the fans by, propping up All Access. Put it on CBS, all right? Because not just Star Trek, but every show has a growth period, okay? You gotta, the writers, the producers, the design, all of them have to figure out how they're doing, what works, what doesn't. Because even the perfect thing on paper, there's gonna be some snags going on, because the actor needs to know how to say the lines, the writers need to know how to write to the actor, the designers will look good in the drawing board, suddenly it doesn't look that hot on set, and you gotta tweak it. Or the kick-ass prop they thought was gonna be great didn't look so kick-ass. The Ferengi, for instance, they were gonna be the big bad in Next Gen. And the first episode, they're prancing around like a bunch of little monkeys, so okay, that didn't work. And again, one of those things look great on paper. Doesn't work well in the real world when you do that on camera. Like, for example, let's go back to JAG. And that one episode that served as the backdoor pilot for NCIS. All the pieces are there, but they're still not quite fitting up just right. Take, for instance, Tony DiNozzo. Not a movie buff early on. If someone quotes a movie line at him and he doesn't get it, whatever. Later, a couple seasons later, the Tony DiNozzo we all know and love will be able to quote you what movie it's from, who the character was, who the actor was, the director, maybe even the studio, even the opening day's box office gross. Okay, the man was a walking IMDb. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that happens in the development of a show. You figure out what's going on, you work to it, and so we all know that just from watching Next Generation. It took like 3 or 4 years before that finally took hold, then finally was hitting all strides. So why in the hell do you expect one of the most knowledgeable fan bases in Hollywood, in entertainment history, to sign up to finance what we know is going to be pretty much a crap show for the first couple of years? Even if you go win a Hugo Awards afterwards, we know it's going to stink for about the first year or two. Just because nobody knows what they're doing yet. Especially this bunch. We have so many people who have never worked on a Star Trek show. They may be fans, but it's a big difference between working on, being a fan and then actually getting in there and saying, how the hell do we pull this off? How did they do it back then? And then, of course, you got to do the licensing. How can we do this without duplicating what was done before and getting ourselves, in trouble or having to pay out more money to CBS itself? And again, do it like they did with Supergirl. First year on CBS, if the ratings aren't that blockbuster, then you shift it over to CW, where it's very genre friendly and the requirements aren't so bad, and you go from there. And then quietly bury Discovery and JJ Trek and never speak of them again. They were failed experiments, but no, don't give anyone the bright idea of maybe trying this again sometime. Hey, how about that movie? No. Never go near that crap again, okay? That was a mistake. There be dragons there, okay? Not friendly ones either. Alright. I think that should do it. And Cafe Press, Patreon. Oh, and I am taking a note from my new hero, Phil DeFranco. And over on Teespring, I am putting up another way to get those thanks a lot, Alex t-shirts. I'll put the link down below and we throw in a caption right about here if I can get to it. And the shirts are available at, they're being promoted. They're going to be done year round, but right now promotion going on through September 8th, ironically enough. It was not planned that way, but it just turned out. So, yeah, the usual links, and it's starting to come together, kids, so let's keep it going.